I sat quietly in my parents' living room, listening to them plan my educational future. Or rather, tell me why I couldn't have one. Sarah, be realistic, my father said, setting down the Harvard University brochure I'd brought home. With your mother's medical bills from last year, we simply can't afford private universities. But my grades are excellent, my mother interrupted, her voice gentle but firm. But grades don't pay tuition. The community college has some very practical programs. My phone buzzed silently in my pocket. Another update from my investment team about the tech company I'd started in high school, the one my parents thought was just a cute little website project. Besides, my father continued, Professor Williams at the State University says they might have a work-study position in the cafeteria. I suppressed a smile, thinking about the meeting scheduled for tomorrow with that same university's board of trustees. They had no idea that the mysterious S.J. Holdings, buying up university real estate, was me. What about scholarships? I asked, playing my part. My older sister Jennifer snorted from her perch on the designer armchair. A graduation gift from our parents after she finished her MBA. Please. Those barely cover books. Some of us actually worked hard and got real jobs instead of playing with computers all day. Another message lit up my phone. Stock split approved. Current valuation, $42 billion. Speaking of computers, my mother sighed, don't you think it's time to focus on something more substantial? Jennifer's firm is always hiring entry-level assistants. I like what I'm doing, I said quietly. What you're doing, Jennifer smirked, is wasting time on that little website while living in mom and dad's basement. If only they knew that basement was my cover for the penthouse I owned downtown, or that my little website had revolutionized educational technology across 3 continents. The community college has a very nice business administration program, my father added, pushing a brochure across the coffee table. Much more your budget. My phone buzzed again. University board meeting confirmed for tomorrow. Donation paperwork ready for signing. I just think Harvard is aiming a bit high, my mother said delicately. We need to be practical about what we can afford. Jennifer stood, smoothing her expensive suit. Not everyone can be successful, Sarah. Some of us have to be realistic about our place in life. Just then, Dad's colleague from the university called. Turn on the news, I heard him say excitedly. Someone's making the largest donation in the university's history tomorrow. My father clicked on the TV, where speculation was already building about the mysterious tech billionaire behind S.J. Holdings. Must be nice, Jennifer commented. Meanwhile, little sister here can't even afford community college tuition. I checked my watch. In less than 24 hours they'd learn exactly what I could afford. The local news droned on about the mysterious donation, showing aerial shots of the university campus, my future campus, though not as a student. Look at that new tech building, my father mused, squinting at the screen. State of the art. Wish we had donors like that when I started teaching. Another message flashed on my phone. Final inspection complete on the Sarah J. Thompson School of Technology. Ready for tomorrow's unveiling. Sarah, honey, my mother touched my arm. Maybe you could work part-time at Jennifer's office while attending community college? Build some real-world experience. Jennifer preened. I could put in a word with HR. File clerk position just opened up. Perfect for your skill level. My phone buzzed again. Forbes exclusive ready. America's youngest tech billionaire reveals identity. I appreciate the offer, I said carefully, but I have other plans. What plans? Jennifer scoffed. That website where kids share homework. How's that working out for you? If she only knew that homework sharing website had evolved into the world's largest educational technology platform, used by over 40 million students globally. Actually, my father leaned forward. Professor Williams mentioned the university's having some kind of special announcement tomorrow. Something about a new donor and changes to the technology department. They're gathering all faculty in the main hall at 10 a.m. How exciting, my mother said absently. Now, about that community college application. My phone lit up once more. University board requesting final confirmation for tomorrow's ceremony. The Sarah J. Thompson Library naming rights confirmed. I should probably head to that ceremony tomorrow, my father mused. Show support for the department. Why don't we all go? I suggested innocently. Could be interesting. Jennifer rolled her eyes. Some of us have real jobs, Sarah. We can't all spend our days playing around on computers in Mom's basement. Speaking of jobs, my mother brightened. The community college has a wonderful computer repair certificate program. Much more practical than these university dreams. Dad's phone rang again, the university dean this time. I could hear the excitement in his voice even from across the room. John, you won't believe the changes coming. This donor. It's unprecedented. I smiled quietly, thinking about the look on their faces tomorrow when they realized who that donor was. The basement-dwelling daughter was about to become their university's largest benefactor in history. Remember, Jennifer said, gathering her designer purse, not everyone is meant for success. Some people need to accept their limitations. My phone buzzed one final time. Press embargo lifts at 10 a.m. tomorrow. All major networks confirmed for coverage. Tomorrow they'd learn about my limitations, or rather the lack thereof. The university auditorium buzzed with anticipation. My family sat in the third row, Dad in his professor's blazer, Mom nervously smoothing her dress, and Jennifer checking work emails with an air of superiority. They still didn't understand why I'd insisted they come. Probably just another tech company donation, Jennifer whispered. Nothing as impressive as my firm's quarterly profits. The chancellor approached the podium, beaming. Today marks a historic moment for our university. We're honored to announce the largest single donation in our institution's history, $50 million for our technology department, library, and scholarship fund. My father sat up straighter. $50 million was more than the university's previous decade of donations combined. But more remarkable than the amount, the chancellor continued, is the donor's connection to our own community. A visionary who revolutionized educational technology, building a platform now valued at over $42 billion. My mother frowned, probably wondering why I was smiling. Please welcome, the chancellor paused for effect, the founder and CEO of EduTech Global, and our university's newest benefactor, Sarah Thompson. The auditorium fell silent as I stood. Jennifer's phone clattered to the floor. My father's mouth opened and closed wordlessly. Walking to the podium in my simple black blazer, the same one they'd criticized as cheap last week, I couldn't help but notice my mother gripping her teacup so tightly her knuckles turned white. Thank you, Chancellor, I began. As some of you know, I was recently told that community college would be more my budget. A knowing chuckle rippled through the crowd. Today, I'm pleased to announce that budget has expanded somewhat. The giant screen behind me lit up with the new building renders. The Sarah J. Thompson School of Technology. The Sarah J. Thompson Library. The Thompson Scholarship Fund for Innovation. That little website, Jennifer stammered, currently serves 40 million users worldwide, I completed. And yes, it did start in Mom's basement. Well, technically my penthouse, but you never asked for a tour. The chancellor stepped forward again. Ms. Thompson's donation will transform our university. Full scholarships for 100 students annually, a state-of-the-art technology campus and crash. My mother's teacup shattered on the floor as the screens displayed my Forbes cover. America's youngest tech billionaire, the Sarah Thompson story. But the community college applications, my father whispered, are being replaced with grant applications, I smiled. This university will now offer free technology education to qualified students who, like me, were told their dreams were too expensive. Jennifer's face had turned an interesting shade of pale. The file clerk position won't be necessary, I said. Though I am hiring for my new research center. Starting salary is quite competitive, about triple what your firm pays executives. The audience erupted in applause as the chancellor unveiled the final surprise. A real-time ticker showing EduTech Global's stock price and market cap. My mother finally found her voice. Sarah, all this time? All this time, I confirmed. Sometimes the best success stories are written in silence. The weeks following my revelation transformed our family dynamics completely. Sunday dinners became particularly interesting, especially when global tech leaders would call during dessert. Bill Gates is on line 1. My assistant announced as my mother served pie. About the joint education initiative in Africa. Jennifer, who used to brag about her corporate expense account, nearly choked on her coffee. The Wall Street Journal article listing my net worth at $42.8 billion had effectively ended her boasting rights. Speaking of initiatives, my father cleared his throat, adjusting his new position as Dean of Technology, a role he'd earned after I'd recused myself from the selection process. The first Thompson Scholars are starting next semester. 100 students, I nodded, remembering my own rejected dreams of university. All from backgrounds where they were told college was out of their budget. My mother, still adapting to reality, gestured at my simple outfit. But darling, you could afford any designer. Mom, I smiled, I'm more interested in designing futures than wearing them. The local news played silently on my penthouse's wall screen, coverage of the new Thompson Technology Campus construction. The reporter stood before the massive site, discussing how the facility would revolutionize educational access. Ms. Thompson, my assistant appeared again. UNESCO confirmed your keynote speech at the Global Education Summit. Jennifer set down her fork. UNESCO. Just a small talk, I said, echoing her past dismissals of my work. Though the Secretary General is quite passionate about educational technology. My father, examining the architectural models of the new campus buildings, shook his head. All those times we thought you were just playing with computers in the basement? I finished. I was building something meaningful. Something that will actually change lives. Another message flashed on my phone. White House Education Advisory Board position confirmed. But why didn't you tell us? My mother asked softly. Would you have understood? I replied. When I started, you were all so focused on traditional paths, on fitting into existing systems. I wanted to create new ones. Jennifer stared at her reflection in the penthouse windows, her designer suit suddenly seeming inadequate against the backdrop of my global impact. All those times I mocked your little website. Taught me resilience, I completed. And the value of being underestimated. My father, now wearing the university dean's blazer with quiet pride, looked at the scholarship recipient lists. These students, they're all like you were. Young people told to dream smaller, I nodded. Now they'll have what I had to build for myself, an opportunity. As my family prepared to leave, still processing their new reality, Jennifer paused at the door. Sarah, we were wrong. No, I said, turning to watch construction crews work on the new campus. You were just looking through an old lens. Education isn't about affording dreams, it's about investing in them. The next morning's headlines would announce EDU Tech Global's expansion into artificial intelligence and personalized learning. My little website was about to reshape not just university access, but the future of education itself.